Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago, and wherever you are looking at us from in the world. Welcome to Pep Talks in the Morning. My name is Felicia Holder, the chairman of the Progressive Empowerment Party and your host of this morning program every Monday to Friday from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Joining me this morning, it's a nice panel for Talk Your Talk Thursday. We have Mr. Akil Kams, the leader of the PEP North Hub. Good morning, Akil.
Morning, Felicia. Morning, Mr. Samlal.
Good morning, panel.
And nice. And also joining us, rounding off the panel this morning on Thursday, the 4th of June, which I forgot to say. Normally, I say the date so we can always have a timestamp. On Thursday, the 4th of June, joining us is Mr. Amar Samlal, the CEO, owner of Masters Duck Farm. Good morning, Mr. Samlal.
Good morning, Felicia. How are you?
I am good. I am great. And I am very happy to have you on the program this morning, as well as Akil, who, on top of being the leader of the Pet North Hub, he's somewhat of a part-time farmer. We can refer to you as Akil.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, Akil is our part-time farmer responsible for the lettuce that I have dying in my little 2x4 farmland outside my house right now. I should have
Mm,
watered them for this program, but I completely slipped me. So I'll have to wait for the heat to be down on me while I water those plants. Everything okay on your side, Mr. Samlal?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I'm just trying to find the feed on the desktop there to share it on the page as well. All
Okay.
right.
All right, no problem. I'm accustomed looking down. I'm not accustomed seeing people looking to the side. No problem at all. So the
All right.
discussion this morning for Talk Your Talk Thursday, it's an interview. It's a day full of interviews. Yes, we still touch on current event topics, but our guest, it's a guest-driven panel. And this morning, Mr. Mara Samuel, who's the CEO of Masters Duck Farm, he came on to discuss some issues as it pertains to the duck farming industry. But before we get into those, actually, can I just call you Amar?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So, all right, we're on a first name basis here. You can call me Felicia as
Yeah.
well. Tell us a
All
little
right.
bit more about yourself and what you do, how long you've been doing it, etc.
Okay. Well, I was actually born into a farming family, right? And at a young age, used to join mom and dad in the garden, as we say back then. My uncles as well. And well, we went to high school and we furthered our studies, some of us. And today, involved in agriculture, involved in farming is by choice. It's by choice because it's something that I have. Agriculture is, I have a passion for agriculture. I love doing agriculture. And I saw the need to take agriculture or to contribute to agriculture to make it viable once more. Also, to take that mindset away that farmers are nobody, to take that mindset away that people are accustomed looking down on farmers. You know, it's only, and so we saw the need for that, and we reintegrated ourselves back into agriculture. Thus, the we started the duck farm. And when we started the duck farm, what had happened was that people used to look at you and call it chicken boy. Call it chicken boy, look down at you, laugh at you. No, yeah,
mm,
you guys smiling, no, but I'm serious. It was something very, very disheartening. It's to feel a certain way. So I decided, look, you know what? I'll take this farm to a level that when you see employees of Masters Dog Farm, you need to respect them. And that had a drive to it, also producing a quality dog. That because there's so many duck on the market, and when people hear farm ducks, everybody are customer yaris. So when they hear farm ducks, they tend to turn away. So I saw the need to actually take this duck and show people what is the true potential of farm ducks in Trinidad and Tobago, and the quality that these ducks can achieve, and also to respect farmers. So that's why I'm before you today. Felicia, I'm not hearing you.
Some,
You hearing me now?
Hearing you now. Yeah.
Yes, I was saying that farmers, and we do tend to pay special or special respect or and attention to farmers. Last week we had an agronomist come on the show, and
Uh-huh.
he gave us a really in-depth look at what he does, some of the challenges that he faced. You and I had an interview before this, and we got to, well, I got to see and find out that
Uh-huh.
it's the same across the board. And I mean, you hear people complaining about it all of the time. And the reason why we continue to bring people like you on the show is because we do respect our farmers. Here in the Progressive Empowerment Party, we say if you can't feed yourself, then you're not where you're going, where you're really going. And as a
All right.
country right now, we have over 70% of our food imports coming from the United States. Most of our food is coming from the outside. Every time I have somebody who's from the agricultural sector, who's a farmer, I always raise the issue, and Akil knows about this, that I cannot believe we import garlic from China. And then I found out
Yes,
about
really.
other things that we are bringing in that had me absolutely baffled. When every time I have somebody like you on the show, it seems like we have more than enough competence, more than enough capability. So I always ask the question, then why aren't we doing it here on a large scale? And I guess the answers to that would be found in what you're about to tell us next, because I know you are here to discuss some of the challenges with being a duck farmer. And I just wanted to open the doorway for you to start on that. I know you mentioned land tenure, and I want to dive headfirst into that discussion.
Okay, sure. One of the issues that I've been dealing with and been calling on government, Minister of Agriculture, the Ministry of Agriculture as well, is actually giving farmers land, giving us leases to land, giving us access to lands. And my whole idea, Trinidad is based on a grant society, a hamper society. And as farmers, we don't want
yeah,
Am I frozen or is he frozen?
he's frozen. He's
He's
frozen for
frozen.
now. Yeah. Well, while he's frozen, let me throw in one time. I have noticed since I shared this interest in agriculture, a lot of farmland, especially the 50-acre plots and thing in Brazuca Paro that were given out years ago, they're not being used for actual agriculture. They're not being used, period. So a few years ago, could be 7 years ago, I actually spent a whole year farming in agriculture. I was planting lettuce and pak choy in Santa Cruz for 6 months, and then I went down to Brasso Caparo by an ex-farmer and was planting pimentos, cabbage, hot peppers, a few other things. And I noticed this because he actually is on a 50-acre plot, and we were planting on probably 4 or 5 acres, and that's mainly because of the lack of funds, right? We could not have done more than that, and the support from the government, yes, they say there is support, but for me, not owning land, to get that support was fairly impossible, right? I would have had to have a piece of land in my name, or have someone write me a letter giving me authorization to use land, and that could have probably worked. Aha, you're back, Mr. Amara.
Yeah, I don't disconnect.
All right, you could go ahead. You could go ahead. I was just filling in while you were away.
Okay. So what I was saying, I don't know how long we were. I was speaking about the land tenure and the simple issue that when you give farmers leases for land and you don't allow them to pay for the land, will not see to to invest heavily into agriculture because at the end of that lease, that land can either be taken away from them if those in authority so see fit. By giving farmers
Mhm.
land tenure and allowing them to pay for the land over a period of time, that give us farmers a sense of security. That gives us the drive that we can go ahead and invest heavily into agriculture, know there will be continuity in our production. So this is why I've been calling on those in authority to give land tenure to farmers, not only the farmers, but farmers throughout the country, and give them the opportunity.
Oh, I think he froze there again.
All right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
seems like he
I
froze.
agree with him there. I wouldn't want to
Actually,
invest any heavy amount of money into what project I might be doing on a piece of land that you're not certain to have. Yeah, that's true, Amar.
what
I
I
agree with you
actually
there.
wanted
Go
to
ahead.
ask, what I wanted to ask both of you, Amar and Akil, because Amar mentioned that, the, the fear that after the lease or whatever it is that it
Yeah,
is a lease that they currently have, right? After the lease,
yeah,
that there's the
lease.
fear that the government takes back the land.
Correct.
But
There's that
my
fear.
question is, my question is, how long are these leases usually for? Because it doesn't seem to be a substantial amount of time to allow. I mean, if you're saying that they don't want to invest heavily, then that means that there's a possibility that that lease can be up soon. So what is the average time for a lease on a piece of land
Well,
as it is right now?
leases start from around 30 years, go up, right? And as you would know, Felicia, farmers depend heavily on continuity in their agriculture. Their family, if it's done right, their family takes it on. It's like a tradition. So if you look at the Arang West farmers, when these guys get old, I've known some of them personally. Their children actually take it forward, take it a step further. That is why the Arang West farmers has been so successful because these lands that they are their own lands. These are not land that the government have control of. So that is why you would find the Arang West farmers are so successful. Apart from their being very initiative, they always try to stay a step ahead of the game, right? But the land is theirs. Unlike some of us in the rest of the country, where we are on state land or colony lands, right? Some of the lands are not ours. And whilst the government acknowledge that there are applications for land, while the ministry has made recommendation and put each farmer name to a plot of land, yet still the Minister of Agriculture is not signing the lease in the last 4 years. Just yesterday I was speaking to my MP on the same issue. And he had mentioned to me that he had sent something 300 to 400 proposals, leases before the Minister of Agriculture, and all he had signed off on was between 10 to 12 lease. So you tell me when you have probably 400 farmers, and out of that 400 farmers, the minister only sign off on 12 leases or 10 leases. How is that helping agriculture? That is not.
Obviously not. And no
No.
wonder you guys feel stifled. And you mentioned something about the Aranguez farmers, something that I was not aware of, that they actually own their lands. But as you said that, it suddenly made sense why they are getting so much pushback from WASA and from the government in terms of
Correct.
irrigation for crops and keeping their crops watered. And I remember, when was it, Akil? It was 2018 or
2019.
2019 when they were threatened to be arrested for taking the
Pumping
water
water.
to yeah. It suddenly makes sense because in all aspects of this, it seems as if the government has a concentrated effort on ensuring that Trinidad and Tobago does not grow food. You're saying that we have hundreds of people applying for licenses
Thousand,
and 10
thousand.
being approved, thousands applying for licenses and 10 being approved at a time. I mean, that is obviously doesn't signal that we're looking and thinking forward in terms of food independence and upping our local food production. It seems as if what I was saying earlier, we're trying to find all kinds of ways to to frustrate and run people out of the industry. And for what purpose? So that financiers and friends can import more food and import it at
But that's
prices.
quite correct, Felicia. You're quite correct. You see, by deterring farmers, by discouraging farmers, it leaves room for importers to import cheap products out of the USA. And that's the truth. Most of our food we import from America. Our baby chicks for layers, for broilers, white chickens as you know it, for ducklings come from America and Canada, right? We have no breeding stock here in Trinidad. So when you see we have land tenure issue being one of the major front runner, you are discouraging local producers and you are encouraging importers. And who does it benefit at the end of the day? Just the importers, because even the consumers end up paying higher prices in the groceries at the vegetable stalls and stuff like that. When last year have you been to a vegetable stall and saw the amount of local goods, vegetables and fruits I'm talking about, in comparison to imported? If you ever visit your local grocery anytime, you'll see the difference.
Yeah, it's crazy. And on the swing of it there, you mentioned something with the farmers owning the land and it being handed down. I have a little issue, something I've been monitoring and watching. A lot of farmers, a lot of farming families are actually coming out of farming and building warehouses and such on the agricultural land. And this is because of what the I have to say the governments have been doing to the agriculture industry. They're making it look as it's not a viable business to get into, and they are actually the cause of this wrongdoing. I would call it wrongdoing because I always say, okay, cool. I from small, I wish my family was into agriculture and I had a piece of agricultural land to inherit and take over and continue. I would have been a serious farmer right now. But when I got into farming and actually had access to a piece of land to start growing some sweet peppers, um, there were limitations. And then to actually get my farmer's ID and all of that. Up to now, I haven't gotten it. I made one or two attempts and found out what I had to do, and it's there's difficulties, and then there's the labor factor. The whole operation and how the country is running right now, and the lack of support farmers are getting is a crippling effect on the industry. And this have to change on so much levels to get the agriculture sector back up to full speed and running, which we need to do. We have to do that. We see that this pandemic proving that we have to get that done for in case of our next pandemic. Yeah.
All right. Tell me, why is it that only since COVID-19 that government now started pretend that they care about agriculture and want to give out seeds and now, oh, grow your own food and all this thing. Why did it take COVID for they to start to talk about agriculture or pretend? Tell me, Akil.
What became
Yeah.
of that initiative, though?
Pretend.
What became of that
Your key word
initiative?
there, pretend.
It started off in the first 3 weeks of COVID-19. I have heard nothing since then. Stunting and
What
game,
about the
Nothing.
care
bulbs?
wholesome. What about the what?
The
The
bulbs.
bulbs. Yeah.
Do you think
You
I
get
may
your
started
bulbs
on
there?
that? But Amar, there's a
Yes.
video clip that you did that you sent to me that I asked Satish to cut a piece, a clip of, because it does discuss the land tenure issue that you were raising this morning on the
Hmm.
program, and I would like to play that clip right now for the rest of the audience to see.
Sure, go ahead.
So many young layer farmers close up their farm the beginning of this year. I dare anybody to come on Facebook or news and tell me that's a lie. So many young layer farmers close down their farm. I know at least 3. Right? I know at least 3 layer farmers closed down the egg farm because they were going on local egg selling. Imagine 3 dozen egg for $25 in some groceries in January. Can you guys remember this? 3 dozen egg and it costing around $12 or $13, and after packaging over $14 for a dozen egg in Trinidad. Again, drop the price of feed. If you drop the price of feed and help the local farmers, we're not asking for anything free, no. We just asking for loans, for land tenure, and regulations in place so that companies don't dig out we eye when we buying products and equipment from them. That's all we're asking for. You talk to any farmer, legitimate farmer, and they'll share my sentiments. You understand me? Put things in place so that farmers will produce plenty food like long time. Right? So our nation will be self-sufficient. We'll be able to feed the nation.
Well said,
Correct.
and I mean, you basically captured everything that we're talking about on the program this morning. Stop stifling the farmers, stop making it hard for them. I mean, you're telling me that when you said 30 years, I was thinking that that was a long time, but then if you really want to treat farming as an industry and not just a hobby, but as an industry and an actual um, you're an entrepreneur basically, and it's something that you would obviously want to pass on to the future generations, to your kids. The person that we had on the program last week, the agronomist, he explained, Jason, I think his name was, he explained to me that, well, he has a particular interest in getting young people involved. And one of the issues that we were discussing is that young people don't see the profitability in getting involved in agriculture. They see the fight
Very
down.
true.
They see the fact that they may never be able to own the piece of land. They see that they will never be able to get that farmer's license or the farmer's badge that would make them legitimate and legitimize their business and even protect them against things like predial larceny, where a man can't come and steal your products and go and pitch a tent on the highway and sell all of your watermelon without a farmer's license, because a farmer's license would allow any authority to pass and say, pull out your license and show me that you are licensed to sell watermelon. I mean, these simple solutions that he is discussing, that you are discussing, that any farmer that comes on this program discusses. And somebody asked me, I saw a comment on the live video last week, why do we keep talking agriculture when we can't do anything about it? That's not the point of the show. We keep talking agriculture because we know that there are solutions to fixing it. And we will continue to apply that pressure until the relevant authorities actually decide to do something about it, or they make room for somebody who can, which, tooting our horn here, is the PP. Again, these simple ideas and simple solutions to make people like Mr. Amar and other farmers are just a little bit more comfortable and feel as if they actually have, or the government and the country is actually paying them the respect that they deserve. They feed the nation. I was talking to you yesterday and telling you that I have been craving duck since the start of COVID-19, and I absolutely refuse to go in the grocery and buy frozen duck. I absolutely refuse.
Well,
Well, run down
so
one.
so let me just say, Felicia.
Mm.
So last year we saw the Minister of Agriculture actually giving lands to one particular duck farm, giving them an additional 50 acres of land and allegedly $20 million. One duck farmer. And I thought to myself, that is so unfair because other duck farmers, we have been trying to form an association and have been trying to have a meeting with the Minister of Agriculture, Clarence Rambara, for the past 2 years, and he have been refusing. You cannot get in contact with him. I personally have tried to call him on many times, and my calls went unanswered, right? And you cannot get in contact with him. And I cannot see why is it there's just this drive for this one duck farm. I don't know if it's the brown bag mentality. You understand? That have him just paying particular attention to this one duck farm, or if there's something more that we're not seeing, or that we are not being told. You understand? Because I'm a very vocal farmer. Because when I see people laughing at farmers, it hurt me. When I see people looking down at farmers, looking down at somebody who's selling vegetables for a living, no matter what, where you are, if he's selling at the side of the road or whatever, I see the need that we can give these people respect and make them feel proud of their self and their trade. Not, so why are we respecting these big importers and we cannot give that same respect to our local farmers? Just yesterday, one of the largest rice importers into our country gave me a call yesterday morning, bright and early, and say, Amar, I applaud the work that you're doing, and I see you very vocal on social media and talking about farmers. And he said, Amar, I have such a wonderful blueprint for the entire rice industry in Trinidad, although it's not that large. But I have an entire blueprint for the rice industry in Trinidad. But there's so many politics involved. There's so many games involved. There's so many, how to put it? You have to pay people or bribe people just to do the right thing. It just discourages him. It just discourages this guy, right? And he's also a farmer, which he don't need to be, but he loves agriculture just like myself. So we communicate. So these are the challenges, because if we start to produce food at a cheaper cost in Trinidad, it will affect the importers. If government levels the playing field and give farmers the tools and initiative, and I'll always say this and I'll always be advocate for this, do not give farmers anything free. Whatever you decide to give to farmers, give us the opportunity to pay for it. We may not have that lump sum of money to put out forefront, but give us loans and not the requirements that the ADB is asking for. They're asking for 40% of what you need. So just say I want $100,000 loan. They're asking me to put on $40,000 collateral in order to get $100,000. I, as a farmer, have that is it, right? They offered a loan, and so that's how I know what's going on. So let me just highlight some of the challenges. So we're just moving away from land tenure a bit, and we're going on to the loans aspect of it now. So
Yeah,
they're
because
giving you a
that's
loan.
what we wanted to move into
Right.
to discuss access to the loans as farmers.
Right. So they're offering you loans now, but you have to give them 40% down of what they're asking. Now that's one. So where are you going to get 40,000? If me personally as a farmer have $40,000, I wouldn't really see it fit to go to the ADB. I would probably wait a year or so, save up the rest of the money and do it myself and save that hassle and that headache of getting that loan. You understand? And this is what
Yeah.
and this is what they are not seeing. This is why we are no futuristic thinking people in agriculture. If I had 40,000, I wouldn't need to go to the ADB.
Don't say they're not seeing, they know exactly what the hell they're doing.
Okay. Right. So apart from that, apart from having your 40%, you need to have EMA approval, right? Although you are on agricultural lands that has been designated for agriculture, you have now to get EMA approval. You have to have your health certificate. Now I have no problem with that, you know. But what I have a problem with, they're taking the agricultural lands now and transforming them into housing. So we have a
Yep.
farm and we have somebody actually bought a piece of land next door to the duck farm, right? And try to convert this land from agriculture to housing, right? To homestead. What that has done for Master's Duck Farm, Felicia and Akil, is that we had numerous visits, and let me tell you from whom. We have had visits from the ministry EMA, we don't know where they come from. The guy say, Amar boy, we get a call that the farm smelling and disturbing, and we have no neighbors on the dog farm. We have one neighbor. So this young man say, we get a call that the farm smelling.
Hold on.
Then we
Wait,
have
hold
the
on, hold on, hold on. They come and move next to a duck farm to
mhm,
complain that a duck farm
smelling.
smelling.
Right. No, they're moving
Okay.
as yet. Their goal is to try and
Uh-huh.
close down Master's Dog Farm so that if they get the
Ah.
farm closed down, then they could get the lands, they could sell the lands for people to build houses. So we have had
Mm.
litter warden. So let me show you how far this went. We have had litter warden. So when the litter warden come, they say, well, all right, they see exactly the place clean, whatever. We have a compost heap. We have had two uh, health officers visit. I must tell you, they came with an agenda. I had to make an official report against them because these two young ladies were so uneducated, standing up on top of manure heap and telling me it's smelling. Believe you me, standing on, yes, Akil, you laughing, this is serious thing. Stand on top of manure heap and tell me it's
Yeah,
smelling.
they sad, boy. People
Then,
sad.
then we have had EMA come in. Well, then we had health and well, we up to standard. Now, so I've had to shift away from some of our local health officers and go to a higher level because it's a fight down. Because somebody saw it fit to buy a piece of land next door to the duck farm and you want to make build houses, so you're trying to close down the farm, right? So then we have had EMA come in. So when the guy came in, I took him. I didn't need to. I could have tell him go back and come with the proper paperwork and then I'll allow you on my farm. I said no, I have nothing to hide. Sanitize yourself and we walk through the farm. I show him our runoff and all the plans. He said, but the guy from the EMA actually told me, he said, Amar, but you seem to have a plan. You seem to have a plan of where you're going and what you're doing. I said, yeah. You don't just do things haphazard. So then he went on to read the report, but he didn't want to tell me who made the report. So I said, well, look, I'll have to seek some legal avenue to find out. And I have a very good idea who keep making these complaints. But these are the challenges farmers go through. When you take agricultural land and you sell it for housing, just like what you're doing with the colony workers, the entire Palmas, I don't know if you all know Shoguna's area going to Londonville. We had hundreds of acres of orange. And you know what they did with that? They took all that orange field and they gave it to their friends and their family. If you ever drive up to Palmas now into Caparo Valley, you would see all the oranges depleted, the entire field. And what they should have done was just divide these hundreds of acres to the workers of Caroni who live in that area and give everybody a 5 acre. That's all. And today we would have so much oranges in Trinidad and give them the opportunity to pay for it as well. That's just one example, Felicia and Akil. And there's so many
Yeah.
stories I can go on and on, even about the fishing industry, because I'm heavily involved in seafood as well. And these are the things that working against farmers. So what I'm saying, give farmers loans, give us based on our track records, because the agriculture extension officers in the Ministry of Agriculture have files on each farmer in this country, legitimate farmer. They have all our records from where we started to how we move in annually, if we are progressing, right? So there's no need to go and set up an entire new committee just to see who should get loans and who should not, because that information is already there.
They're ready.
Each,
Hmm.
each county have agriculture extension officers. So what they can do is use the files and they can say, okay, Mr. Amar Samlal Masters Dog Farm has been doing so, and this they have been progressing. They call you up, Mr. Masters, you want a loan, probably for 500,000. I just saying, okay, and give us permission to sign a contract because we don't have the collateral upfront, and give us a period of time to pay back that loan. You understand? But you're not going to give farmers without track records. They're not going to throw away money at the same time. That is an investment that the government will be making into agriculture, not only in livestock, but in crop production, in
Hmm.
fruits, in vegetables, in roots and tubers. I mean, I'm happy that we import yam and edibles out of St. Vincent, but we could produce more here in Trinidad. if
I'm
we
not happy
encourage our
about that.
farmers.
I'm actually
No, I
very
mean,
unhappy about that aspect.
well,
because
Felicia, we have
St. Vincent should be selling their yam and their whatevers to countries like Switzerland
correct,
and
correct.
whoever in the UK who can't grow those things here. We have the capability of doing it here. And I think when I
Example,
found out as well that they import things like bananas, I
yes.
come on.
I actually have a close working relationship with one of the largest importer of bananas in the country. You understand? And he himself is actually trying to establish a large banana farm down at Moruga. But again, challenges. He can't just shut down his operation of important and focus on that because it's not viable here in Trinidad. Labor is affecting us, and then Trinis, we have a lazy mentality, and I will always say, "Are you okay who vexed with me?" Thank God for immigrants that a lot of farmers have employees because Trinidadians don't matter how much money you pay them, they are never satisfied and they just want to come and do what they want to do. Because again, it goes back to the government creating and sustaining a lazy society. It
Well, that's
boils
what I
back down to
wanted to
that.
say. Yeah? I wanted to say that I don't want to make such a generalized statement, but I do agree that we have created a particular culture, a mindset of Trinbagonians here. One, that farming is not an industry to be respected, and two, that in order for you to work hard, you have to be paid an exorbitant amount of funds or be literally handed something on a platter. And I mean, it all stems from the lack of respect, the lack of investment, the lack of proactive thinking as it pertains to farming. You sat here on this program for the past 39 minutes and you laid out more of a plan for agriculture than I have heard Clarence Rambara done in the past 5 years he's been in office. And Clarence Rambert, as far as I know, is supposed to be a very intelligent, well-educated man. I've heard that he's one of the most educated men on that cabinet, sitting on the cabinet right now in Parliament, which I mean is yet to be seen because for such a well-educated man who knows what he's about, he obviously does not know how to either he does not know how to implement these things or he doesn't want to. And when you mentioned earlier about the duck farmer getting $20 million and the people coming on your farm to do random audits, if we did not find a way in this country to politicize farming, then this was not Trinidad and Tobago. And the fact that it has found itself in every single sector, particularly such an important sector as food. Food. And I mean, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Basic human needs. You need to be fed, you need to be clothed. How could we politicize something as important to the nation as food? And your same friend who is importing the bananas and who wants to do the rice here on a massive scale. The reality is if they're growing that food here, then which who paying custom fees and who paying exorbitant prices to those customs officers to bring in things. That's a
Exactly.
reduction in income thing, and that's the mentality and the thinking of this country and the red tape that is designed to keep you back. All of that is intentional. The people
They
coming to make complaints. Akil, go ahead.
they seem to be wanting to keep the majority of the population. You hearing me?
Yeah, we hear
Yeah,
you.
Hello?
Hello.
yeah, we're hearing you.
Yeah. They want to keep the population down. I experienced some years ago. I actually did mining chickens and ducks, and I wanted to build like in my area a community farming area basically. So we were planting, mining chickens and sharing the work and etc. And when I gradually after first, second, third, fourth batch of chickens and I'm monitoring the expenditure per dozen and feed costs going up every month, right? I wish I had a year, but you could actually see what was happening to the industry in terms of feed costs raising so much that it pushing you as a small farmer minding your little chickens or whatever to reach a point where you realize that it don't make sense. I worked out a course at the with the last batch of chicken I mined of $31 at the time, but the same chicken I was getting in the grocery for less than, well, probably around the same price. And the $31 was just feed. I ain't
All right.
talking labor. So it
No,
didn't
that's
make
true.
sense. And this happens to a lot of people. And that shut down. So the poor man who said, okay, I ain't gonna buy chicken, I'll go mine chicken in the yard. Is either he subsidized feed by which I was doing at some point, feeding with the bush and scraps from the house and that kind of thing. But if you go and buy feed totally and mind your chickens, you're wasting your money and your time.
All right. So let me say something on that topic. So I've so in Trinidad we have a major feed mill, right? We have private feed mills and we have the state-owned feed mill. What has been happening is that our feed mill has been selling cheap feed. Our feed mill has been selling feed cheaper. Sorry, on the international market than what they're charging farmers in Trinidad. So they're actually going up the islands and selling the feed in other islands cheaper than they're charging us farmers in Trinidad. And when you ask them why is that, because their excuse is that they need forex. So they have no choice but to from outside forex to buy to, to buy forex to bring in grains, right? And this is an unfair advantage because we have the large chicken companies in this country producing their own feed at a very reasonable cost. Now, we don't need to be paying that price for chicken in Trinidad. Let me just let you guys know. The price we paying for chicken, and I must say some of the large farmers, they have no vision. We don't need to be paying that price. They choose to sell at that price and maintain that price for their personal gains. Now, I'm not wrong as a business, you're looking to make a large profit. But when you sell chickens at that price, I'm just using chickens as an example. When you sell chickens at that price, what you do, you actually leave room for importers to import chicken. Now, there are free trade agreements, so we have no choice but to allow imported chickens. But if our same major chicken producers drop the price of chicken by $1 or $1.50, which I know they can because I know I have a fair idea what it costing them to produce chicken, what it costing them to produce a pound of feed, what it costing them to import the baby chicks, and also what it costing them to grow it. So there's an overall cost, and we could actually be paying less at the scale for chickens in Trinidad and Tobago, and that is something that they don't want to address. The Ministry of Agriculture, don't want to address because, sorry, because it's just gonna.
Did we lose him there? Looks like he was fighting with his phone.
A chicken must be running in the truck. But it's true. It dread this whole feed thing was a whole plan just to. I have to say again, we go back to the importers. So we restrict what we 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 restrict people in terms of they to save $1, mind their own chicks, and get feed reasonable. Raise the feed high. So you, like me, I realized it wasn't making sense. So I would just go
Yeah.
buy in the grocery, right? So it everything leads to pushing the consumer back to the supermarkets, to these importers, um, and their foreign products. And we look at lettuce. We have so much farmers that growing lettuce, and we could have more farmers growing lettuce and supplying the demand in the market in Trinidad. But no, you're going to the grocery and you're seeing foreign lettuce on the shelves. You're seeing foreign broccoli. We could plant broccoli here. I did it already. It don't come as big as what we import. But if you that foreign broccoli you get is coated with a wax to protect it, and which is, I mean, all these additives unhealthy. You could have local broccoli and buy in the supermarket accessible. Who wouldn't choose to do that? You understand? Yes,
Exactly.
Amar, you're back.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry
Welcome
for
back.
that.
Mhm.
Yeah, I keep falling off for some reason. So,
You look
I
like
see
you're
there's a duck
fighting with
fly
your
in the room
phone
there.
just now. Duck flying.
I'm not a professional
Um,
like you guys, you know.
Mr. Samlal, because we
Yes,
are running out of time, and I say running out of time, the first 50 minutes of this program just flew. I wanted to actually
yes.
open the phone lines for anybody who wanted to
Go ahead.
call in. And we still have the topic of water issues that are facing
Yes.
you as a farmer. I personally tuned into some news about 2 weeks ago. The Barkpore farmers were crying for water for their products. They said that they were literally drying out. WASA has so many restrictions right now, restrictions that have been
Yes.
imposed since January 2019 that still hold. Well, tell me some of your concerns as it pertains to water.
What has happened is that this problem became worse in 2017. So we actually drew it to the attention of the area supervisor and those in authority in Wasa in our area. 2018 it continued. 29 well at 2018 we decided to expand our pond so that we would have a backup of water here on the farm. In 2019, as early as December 2018, we were not getting any water from Wasa. Period. Probably once a week, twice a week, just for a couple of hours. So in 2019, we had over 100,000 losses in livestock on the farm that died because we used all the water from our pond, and there's only so much water we could have bought. We also spent over $100,000 in water that in 2019. So again, we went and we made the pond even larger for 2020. And what has happened is that up until around 2 months ago, we were getting a reasonable supply of water. I understand it's dry season, so we had measures in place. After that, it went to twice a week, then once a week, then 2 hours per week now. And I asked myself if it's because of victimization, because of speaking out about WASA and the corrupt practices that they have, so that you have to go to water trucks, you have to bribe the people at the water hydrants. You understand? Is is it because of these things that they are starving communities for water so that WASA employees who are in charge of water distribution could make money? You understand? So I have to ask myself that. Now, I got a quote to do a well on the farm as recent as last week. $300,000 to do a water well. 300,000. And you have to get WASA approval. And after you spend your 300,000, WASA now is going to come in and put a meter on that well and charge you for the water that you spend 300,000 to dig a well. How is that being fair?
Mhm.
How does
Yep.
this make sense in 2020 in this day and age? You're going to spend $300,000 to do a water well, and WASA now is going to come and meter that well and charge you for that, and they had no input into that. How can that be fair? So
Absolute madness.
everything.
And you did a video on this that I want to show to the public. Satish just reminded me that we have this clip to run, a 3-minute clip on the same
Mhm.
issue that you're talking about. Let's show that clip right now.
So, here I'm at one end of our pond. We actually redid this pond last year, just to prepare for this dry season. Right, we actually redid this pond. Look at the size of this pond that we got. Look at the size. You can actually see it's empty, basically empty right now. And all these are efforts that we put in place to make sure that we had sufficient water. Why this is empty? This is empty because WASA has not been sticking to their schedules. WASA promised us water 3 times a week. Okay, crop time, dry season. So we had this as backup. They said 2 times a week, all well and good, 8 hours a day, twice a week. We go live with that because we have all the storage tanks there. Then it went down to once per week. Okay, now we're getting 2 hours of water per week. So what has happened in the past month, we had to use all this water that we had here. on this duck farm. How that has affected us? What happened is that we had to lay off staff. We were on the verge of closing down this farm. I'm going to show you how many of our pens we had to empty and sell out under the cost of producing ducks, just for the ducks not to die, because we've been buying water from since going in 2 months. We've been buying water. You guys saw me went down to Wassa treatment plant in Castleford. Show you just opposite that, where they had all the water wasting by Nestle Milk Depot, right? And nothing is being done. Tell me why it is again. Tell me why it is. Walk with me now. Tell me why is it, right? All these pens are empty. All these pens are empty, right? These are for young ducks. All these pens are empty because we have to cut back production, right? We have to lay off workers. Tell me why is it that Wassa only treating part of our citizens with respect and the rest of us like garbage? And we have a minister, a new minister of utility, saying people in South lying they didn't get water for 3 weeks. So I want to ask the new minister of utilities if he can survive with 2 hours of water per week. I want to ask him that. I want to ask our minister why it is you want the next 5 years to alleviate all these water problems. So what the last minister of utilities were doing? Nonsense? That's what you all trying to tell us? What are your track records? You know what are your track records? You all are just harming the citizens of this country. You all are taking us for fools. Look at all these pens. You all are taking us for a ride. And you all are only filling your friends and families' pockets. And as farmers like us, you all are asking us to produce more food to feed the nation. And you all asking us to step up our game. But we can't get one basic amenity as water.
You said it, and you said it really well, and I'm so glad we got to squeeze in that clip because you summarize everything that you were just discussing as it pertains to the water issue. It's 5 to 9 already. I cannot believe how this time flew. So I want to give you the last 5 minutes to just say your final say, as well as plug your business. It's Master's Duck Farm, apparently one of the biggest duck farms. I hope my executive assistant Zeta knows that she has to get a duck from there and cook it for me, because I have been craving some ducks. I will tell her to give you a call again after this
That
program.
is not a
But you
problem.
take
That is not a
last 5
problem.
minutes to, you take these last 5 minutes to
Okay.
have your say.
I just want to give you all and PP tell you thanks very much for having me on the program, giving me the opportunity, giving me myself as a farmer a voice on your program and your platform to share my views and opinions. As I say, my drive is not only for self gain; it's for the entire farmers of Trinidad and Tobago. I've actually started a group and I've been working with so many farmers. We have groups from in Tobago, sheep and goat. We have vegetable farmers from in Tobago. We have down at Princestown here in my community, and we're trying to mobilize farmers to come together, as much farmers as possible, so we can make recommendations to those in authority to assist farmers. I believe that if farmers, thousands and thousands of farmers come together and unite, our voices will be heard, because you cannot lie and say that, like the minister said, he's given grant, there's $100,000 grant, and ask any farmer if they have received that grant up until today. The answer will be no, more than likely, right? So I believe farmers need to unite for their own good and for the good of all the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. We here at Masters Duck Farm, one of the reasons why we have been surviving is because we have been producing our own feed for the past 2 years. Otherwise, we would have closed down by now. As Akil said, when he looked at the cost of growing the chicken, $31, and he getting that chicken in grocery already plucked and prepared in the grocery for the same price, it was not feasible. And that is the truth. They tend to make agriculture not feasible and discouraging and treat farmers without respect. And I am asking this morning that farmers stand and unite together, not for only self-gain. Don't go and put yourself to screen for a committee and you are the head of the Agriculture Society. It comes across as being biased. You understand? Then you are for
Yeah.
your own personal gains. And that is wrong. And that is, I am not about that, and I will not be a part of that as a farmer. I cannot be coming and preaching on Facebook, social media, the news, and then I go in to see if I can get to fill my pocket. That's wrong. Yeah, you have to fill
I'm glad
everybody
you
pocket.
said it. I am glad you said it, so I did not have to, because that particular
Uh,
move, particularly when that particular individual was on a pep platform complaining about
yes, I saw that,
um, said business that they were
Minister.
screening, organization they went to screen for. I mean, it negates everything that you were appearing to fight for. And
You're being hypocritical.
Yeah.
You're just
again, I'm
being
glad you said
hypocritical.
it and I didn't have to.
And and I have had this young lady on this group. When I started this group, I added her there because I have a lot of respect for her. But when you go and do something like that now, it shows you're just about yourself at the end of the day and no one else. And that is so wrong. We here personally at Masters Dog Farm have been responsible for the decrease in the price of dog to the retail customer. We have done that, actually taken that step to make sure that everybody could afford a dog. A good dog that is there, because there are a lot of people who feed in dogs. And permit me the opportunity to say this. We have so-called farmers. We have so-called farmers feeding dogs biscuits, chocolates, garbage. And there are a lot of
What?
people who know about it. You drive down the highway, you'll see a dog for $89. You'll see some people go on Facebook, social media, advertising dogs for 100. And here what happening? It is not of quality. And they go out there and they try to fool people. So we have been advocating for farmers to actually do the right thing and feed the animal the right products, right grains, right nutrition, and stuff like that, so that everybody can be happy at the end of the day. Not only the person who rearing the dog, but the consumer as well. So I urge everybody to, I mean, your platform very nice. Thank you very much for having me on the PEP platform. We here at Masters Dog Farm, we very much happy for the opportunity. Thank you guys for having me. Whenever, if ever you all need me to come back on, I am at your disposal. Right? I don't really like to dive into politics, but I saw it fit as a farmer to let my voices be heard, because a lot of farmers, they don't have the courage, and that's just the truth. They are fearful.
Hmm.
You have no
Any closing
choice.
remarks from
Politics
you guys?
decides everything.
In a country where victimization is so overt, I can understand, and I have to say, I absolutely applaud you for having the courage and the strength of your conviction to come on this platform, because it's not just about politics. It is about actually talking solutions to problems that we keep hearing over and over and over. And if the present administration, if the past administration is not fixing it, then we need to talk about who is. And that you came on this morning, I thank you very much for adding your voice to this program, to this discussion. I'm seeing some of the comments on the live video very positive. I think some people are going to be reaching out to you for their docs after this. What number can they get you at? Is it that number on the screen there, 270-6314?
270-6314.
All right, so please call Mr. Amar Samlal to get your ducks, 270-6314 Zeta. I think you're on the live. If you're on the live, please make a note that I need to get a duck from Mr. Amar, because I want my curry duck. COVID can't finish, and I did not taste some curry duck, and I was in it from Master's Duck Farm. Thank you very much again for coming on. Anything you'd like to say before we go to a break?
I would just like to say that farmers need to stand up for their rights, and we need to let our voices be heard. That's all that's my closing remarks towards farmers. We need to come together as farmers and unite. Just as the Arangwes farmers have a Arangwes Farmers Association, united is their keyword. They probably can include the rest of the country and make this group larger. so that we can make recommendations for those in authority to assist farmers. That's all I would like to say at this point in time. That farmers need to unite and come together.
Thank you
True
very
talk,
much for
true
that.
talk. Thank
Thank
you,
you very
Mr.
much.
Amar. Thank you for coming, and hoping to meet you sometime in person. Probably, most likely on the farm. I'll make a trip and come down to check you out. So I don't know how soon that will be though.
All right, folks. It's 9:02 a.m. We're due for a commercial break. We will be right back with Sasha Ali, head of our PEP merchandise team, co-chair of the PEP merchandise team. We're going to hear what Sasha has going on in terms of Father's Day promotions and what next is coming for the PP. Of course, it will be after 9, so we will be opening the phone lines to you to call in and have your say. It's Talk Your Talk Thursday. We will be right back.
Untel is Trinidad's most reliable and technically experienced ICT company, providers of quality structured cabling, Cat6 data fiber, and power cables. We also stock cabling infrastructure basket-type cable trays for server rooms and data centers. Untel also installs and maintains video security systems including cameras, alarms, and electronic entrance locks for businesses and residential properties. Call Untel 674-1406 or 783-9250.
Trinidad and Tobago is in a crisis. For far too long, our people have been abused and silenced by our politicians and the business elite.
Just look around you. People are losing their jobs. Crime is at an all-time high. Our justice, education, and health systems have failed.
We all know the truth behind all that is wrong in our country. Corruption is destroying us. Billions of our dollars are being looted by a small group of business people that use our politicians to divide and distract us,
So they can take what they want, leaving us with no hope for a better country.
All of this is because we've never had leaders who seek the interests of the citizenry as their first priority.
I am here because I'm not taking it anymore.
I am here because I am not taking it anymore.
I am fed up of politics as it is in Trinidad and Tobago.
It is time we elect leaders with the backbone and the love of our people to go after the corrupt, evil elements in our country, hell-bent on serving their own pockets while we suffer.
And it is time that we as a nation take a collective stand against wrongdoing.
So we are making a plea to the nation to rally behind us.
Because our freedom of speech is being threatened by those who don't want us speaking out on these issues.
A man that I greatly respect is one of those leaders fighting for a better country. His name is Philip Edward Alexander, and he has bravely challenged the people and institutions that are destroying our nation.
To date, he has been threatened with 5 lawsuits for having the courage to ask state agency UDCOT on why the renovations of the President's house cost $89 million.
When experts in the field have estimated that that job should have never crossed 20 million.
Where did the rest of our money go?
We refuse to stand by and allow any agency to use our courts to try and silence and punish Philip or any other citizen of our country for trying to seek the truth. If you're fed up of corruption and want to be a part of real change, support Philip and the Progressive Empowerment Party in this fight.
This fight is not for him or us to bear alone.
It is a fight for you, our loved ones, and our friends.
It is a fight for the future of our country.
You can help by making a contribution to Philip's legal fees and help him and PEP expose the truth and shine light over the darkness of corruption. Go to our website at peptt.com, click on donate and see all the ways you can pitch in.
There is hope. Our country can be saved, but we all need to stand together. My name is Felicia Holder, Chairman of the Progressive Empowerment Party, and I support Philip Edward Alexander and the PEP.
I support Philip Edward Alexander and the PEP.
I support Philip Edward Alexander and the PEP.
I support.
I support.
I support.
I support.
I support.
I support.
I support. I support.
I support.
I support.
I support.
I support Philip Edward Alexander and the PEP.
And we are back, and oh gosh, yeah, very high there, boy. We're back, and joining us this morning is Sasha Ali, or you know her as Maze Ali on Facebook. She is the co-chair of the PEP merchandise team, and she's joining us in Talk We Talk, Talk It Talk Thursday. She is our guest this morning to talk a little bit more about what's happening on the merchandise side. Akila, we boring you? What was that you want about?
The
I
rain has
can't
started to
hear.
fall.
Oh yes, yes.
Mhm.
I just got a little bit of a sprinkle here, so hopefully that would
Mhm.
help my plants that I keep forgetting to water. Sasha, welcome to Talk Your Talk Thursday. Please tell us what is going on in merchandise, what is happening for Father's Day.
Hi, good morning, everyone. So, merchandise, we have a lot
Morning.
of exciting things happening. We have this grand promotion that we are having right now. It's called our Father's Day. Let's celebrate Father's Day. T-shirt style. We have some amazing prints, so you need to go check out our PEP merchandise page. Make sure and like the page, and you can see all the prints that we have available. Now, these t-shirts are at an incredible price of $100. So make sure and get them. We have sizes ranging from small to 4XL, so you can find a size for that. So feel free to log on. You can reach out to me via WhatsApp or call at 759-3138. And yeah, and that's it. So you can log on and see what fun tees we have for fathers.
Do we have any pictures of those that we can show on the program today? Sati, should we you sent any to him? It would have been nice if we could have put up some of those t-shirts
Yes,
on the program so people can see he has them.
yeah, he has them.
All right, so hopefully in a little bit we can get an idea of what that t-shirts and masks, because I see you doing masks as well. Oh no, this is the Umami. This is the new promotion that
Yes,
you are working on. Someone called me yesterday, and I hope she's watching the program right now. She called me last week to send me a WhatsApp message, and she said, "I want you all to start selling your mommy t-shirts." And to that caller from, I believe she is in Pennsylvania, Philadelphia. She's in Philadelphia, and I think she's watching the program now. You can see that I actioned what you asked me for. I sent it immediately to Sasha, who's the head co-chair of merchandise, and I asked her to put that in motion for you. So that's a new, well, a new batch of t-shirts and vests. I see, Sasha, that we can actually offering vests as well. That will be coming out when after Father's Day, post Father's Day
yes,
promotion.
yes, it will.
Nice. So if you want to pre-order one of those t-shirts, you message Sasha. You can find her on Facebook, message her on 759-3138. Those t-shirts will be selling. And for those who don't know where your mommy came from, um, how does it go? Where the second wave supposed to come from if the airports closed and the borders locked down for 2 months now, Terrence? Where is it coming from, your mommy? And that's the quote from Mr. Philip Alexander that inspired a nationwide challenge. I believe Natalia came on the program yesterday and said we had over 400 submissions for the Yamami challenge, and it has inspired a new wave of t-shirts, just like the 9 o'clock in the morning. I will be getting one and definitely walking around with my Yamami t-shirt. So if you want to get one, please reach out to Sasha. Sasha, the Father's Day promotion, I know it also includes some masks as well. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, we have a Father's Day mask and T-shirt combo. It's $140 where you could get a awesome print on the mask for dad, like best dad ever, real cool dad. We have a lot. The T-shirts incorporates a lot of prints that represent dad. So we have the hunting dads, the fishing dads, the football dads, the cricket dads. We just want to celebrate that. So feel free to hit me up for one of those awesome tees.
Lovely. In terms of
I
PEP
hope one is the
merchandise,
political dad.
That can be arranged. That can be arranged.
Don't tell Sasha that by this evening you will see a mock-up come out for that. She don't stick when it comes to advertising and getting her new items on. In terms of prep merchandise, what can we expect to see from this dynamic department? I know you and Zeta, since you took up the mantle, you all have been pumping. What can we look forward to in terms of new items to come out? Tell me a little bit more about that.
Okay, so I really don't want to say much about what items because it's supposed to be like a surprise and a bang. I don't want to sell out my ideas too much, but
Nice.
but you all could just expect exciting things. This is an area that I love, so you're going to see brilliant ideas. You're going to see out of the box thinking. So yeah, so as I said, you need to like the page, go to the Pep merchandise page. You need to like that page. You need to follow that page so you'll see the amazing things that we have to offer.
All right. Well, thank you very much for that update, Sasha. I will definitely be looking out for the new things you guys have in stock and whatever new ideas and initiatives that you come out with. I know your Father's Day promotion is pumping. I'm an admin on the page and I get notifications at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning from people who clearly need to get their t-shirts like yesterday. So congratulations on that initiative, and I am really looking forward to great things from you and the rest of the team.
Thank you so much.
All right. Take care.
Take care.
Hi, Sasha. Thanks.
Okay.
Alrighty, so we're now opening the lines for you to call in and talk your talk. But before I do that, I do want to recognize 2 birthdays that I did not recognize this week. We had Michael Sipol, who is a very, very avid pepper. He is on all of our live videos. He shares them. Happy belated birthday to you, Michael. I believe yesterday we also had a birthday, Lorena Lucian. She's one of our foundation members since here with us since 2017. Happy belated birthday to you, Lorena and Michael, and I hope you had a really amazing time. 769-4590 is the number to call in to talk your talk. We look forward to hearing from you. But in the meantime, Akil, you and I, let's have a discussion. And you had some items table that you wanted to bring up today. Please, it's your turn to talk your talk and lead that discussion.
All right, and this is how I will start. Let's draw a picture here. You applied for a house 20 years ago, right? A HDC house. You were approved 19 years ago, okay? So people as you applied for a house through the HDC also, right? And got approved last month, okay? So you 19 years ago, I got approved last month. And yesterday, the HEC had a random draw to distribute homes. And your name is in that, my name is in that. And my name was called. That is that fair? How you will
There was an actual draw yesterday for homes?
Yes, 500 people. They had a computerized draw. It was on TV. And 500 people names, applications that were approved were published. Yeah. Now you have a list of 180,000 applications that approve, right? HGC has that list. That's the amount they publish. 180,000 persons approved for housing, waiting for housing. But yet still, the UNC in 2015 had a random draw to give out housing, and and it was around the same time, just before election, 3 months before elections, right? Just like now, PNM come, random draw again 3 months before elections. You have in random draws, although you have a list from 1 to 180,000 persons' names of applicants waiting for housing. You having a random draw. People waiting all these years. Why not the list in the order the list from who waiting the longest come down? Give the first 500 who waiting the longest the 500 houses. You don't need to random draw nothing. Come now, man. That's not fair. I spoke to someone yesterday. They they went to that they were on the list in 2015 for housing. The random draw, however it went, the person name was called, right? So she hear her name, and you put yourself in that position. You hear your name call, you get in a house. Ray, you're happy, you're jumping up, celebrating with joy, right? And that was 3 months before election. You know what happened after the UNC lose the election? They null and void the draw. So she was told, sorry, you can't get no keys. She and whoever else got their name called. You
That
feel this
happened
country sad and joke?
someone. That happened to someone I know. I knew, well, no, and I didn't even know that that happened until I realized, hold on, but you didn't win the lottery. How come you still living and renting this home, and how come you ain't moving to your HEC house? They got keep hearing over and over that there was this delay and that delay until finally they just never. I guess they eventually came out and told them the truth behind the situation. But Akil, there's something about this. I've never been a believer in the HGC. I'm being very honest with you. And this is before I got involved in politics. This is before I knew how corrupt and broken and how very much entrenched in nepotism that system is. And I just never liked it because I never understood the idea of telling citizens that you have to fill out this form and hope and pray that the government draw you as a lucky number to get a home. It always appeared very condescending to me. It seemed like it reminds me of people who can't afford or are underprivileged, and it's like you're lining up outside the homes of the wealthy, just hoping that when they point out spoons of food at your bowl, just happen to catch a pot spoonful of all the wonderful goodness that they're giving out. That's what it feels like. It feels like you literally have to pander. And when I hear people say 10 now, 20 years now, 30 years now, I'm waiting on an HGC house, something about that makes me cringe because it brings up this feeling of even back in the plantation days, just waiting for your overseer or waiting for your master to feel a little bit sorry for you and say, you know what, it's Christmas Day, so here you can have an extra grape on your plate today. I never understood it, and that so many of our citizens are so, the word is not dependent, that so many of our citizens are at the mercy, basically, are at the mercy of the government. And when they feel to call a lottery, or when they feel inclined to distribute homes because elections are coming around, or when they feel to give out some keys because maybe we're benevolent, we're feeling a little bit extra benevolent this month. That is what it feels like. And I mean, when you see this happening, it's usually only ever around election times. You don't hear about the third year in office or the second year in office, a government really distributing keys. And my question is, those 500 people, those 500 families, because that's 500 families we're talking about here, but why did it take now for them to get those homes? What is it, that they were just completed? Is it that these keys we were waiting for the manufacturer to actually finish crafting these keys? Like, what were they waiting on to give 500 families the opportunity to have a basic human necessity as a roof over your head? What were we waiting on, and how is it that people, especially diehards, are not seeing that the party that they are supporting, that they're holding their bowls out, waiting for a morsel of food to drop on their plate? How are they not seeing that they are being used as political tools in a political game just to get more votes, or to actually get votes come election time? How are they not seeing that? And that for the ones who are seeing it, I hope you're realizing that this is a reason, one of the many reasons why we cannot keep putting people like this back into office. We can't keep letting people play with our lives like this. That somebody could apply 2 years ago versus somebody 30 years ago, and then they end up in the same pot, and somebody who applied 2 years ago getting a home. That is no way.
Felicia, and
Honestly, no more way.
that's just one part of it. On the next swing of it, I have heard personally of PNM people having their children sign leases or documents for HDC homes, and in one particular instance, the the children, they don't even know what they're signing. They're just of age, and they sign whatever application, whatever, and they have HDC homes living in their parents' house, but they each have homes that most likely is rented out or whatever they do with it, right? And one guy in particular, some years ago, he questioned his father. He said, "But why we doing this? We well off. We have a home already. I ain't planning to move nowhere. Why you taking a HGC home?" Yeah, serious. I heard this with my own ears. So
And
that's
that's
just
my
one instance.
question. Of the 500 homes that were distributed yesterday, were these legitimate people in legitimate need of a home and a roof over their heads, or are these people with 2 or 3 other leases under their name, under different children names, coming to get a property that they're now going to lease out to somebody else? Is that the case? And who is checking up and auditing these things? I mean, somebody on the live just said, I know many people who got homes because they know ministers. They got homes before anybody else, and let's not pretend that that doesn't happen. That is the reality. It's usually the people who can't afford and people who don't need are the ones who end up with more than enough. And the inequality in this society, Akil, it is so glaring, it is so staggering, and it is so unbelievable that it continues. Who is the minister of housing right now?
Who's that guy? I think it's the army guy.
Edmund Dillon.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
He's still housing right now. The man who was responsible for stealing a house from somebody else.
Well, he's good at it. Felicia, I have another audio issue here. I have to come out to come back in to get my earpiece on because I hardly hearing on the phone. All right. So
all right, sure, no
proceed
problem.
while I go on.
No problem. What we're discussing here as it relates to this issue with HGC, and it's not one that we touch much on, or we haven't touched much on it on the program to date, but it is an issue that continues to plague us as Trimbigonians. I personally, like I say, I don't believe in the HGC, and when I say I don't believe in it, it's too much corruption attached to it. The fact that we were allowed, or this country allowed the past administration and then followed on by this administration to build that Greenvale housing establishment should be considered criminal. It should be something that people ended up charged for. But in a country like ours that doesn't work, There was nobody held accountable. There was nobody that we could have pointed fingers at, because all of the people who we could have pointed fingers at were pointing fingers at each other. And at the end of the day, the people who suffered were the residents of Greenville who lost their homes, who lost their personal property, who found themselves in debt because $20,000 grants to recover everything in your home. Let's be honest, for some people, $20,000 barely covered the cost of the fridge and the dining room table. And we're not even going to get into the issue of the cost of things in this country and what we have to pay for them when they land in this country. But back on that issue with Greenville and those Greenville residents and so many other HGC residents, we had Lima McLeod Wilkinson, our deputy political leader, as well as caretaker for Port of Spain North St. Anne's. She came on the program on Tuesday to talk about a particular HGC establishment in the Harp in the city, right outside the city of Port of Spain North St. Anne's West. And in the Harp, she highlighted the issue of the lack of water, the issue where they had two tanks to facilitate two apartment buildings with um, well over 20 apartments in each building. She highlighted the issue of the playground for the children that had a big manhole in front of it, an open trench where kids could actually fall in. And I mean, again, this is HGC, and look at the way they treat the citizens. Look at the way they treat the people who still, those residents still can't own their own home, by the way. I don't understand how there isn't a rent to own facility established yet for people who make below or just above minimum wage so that they too can own their home. I mean, this is number one in terms of PEP policy, make home ownership available, because it has been proven, absolutely proven throughout the world, that where in cases where home ownership is high, crime is low. And when you look at the areas where HDC apartments and complexes are, you would find that these are also hot spots. They're areas where crime is high. Why? Because people don't own these apartments that they're in. They don't own these homes. They have no stake in the community. They have no reason to say, if this man come and set up a drug block on my street, that I'm going to report him to the police. Because why should I bother? If I have a problem and crime becomes an issue, I can simply move out of this area. When you have a stake in your community, when you own your own home, when you as a minimum wage earner can say, I have a piece of property, I have something that I can pass on to my children and my children's children, you would find that you would pay closer attention to all of these things happening in your neighborhood. Crime, you would be reporting it to the police. When they come and they ask who are the drug dealers, you might give them a name, but you would be more inclined to point them out, maybe under a fake name or whatever. But as it is right now, what inclination do people have to want to build their communities? And isn't it a wonder that we have so many failing communities in our country? And then isn't it obvious that because of all of these failing communities, why our nation on a whole is failing? Akil, when during the break I was talking about this whole HDC scheme, from the Greenville madness that took place when nobody was held to account for that piece of nonsense that they did up on that side, building homes on a floodplain and costing the residents, in the end, the residents who $20,000 we know would not have been enough to pick up the pieces and recover. And even if it covered the cost of the items in your home, the mental and the emotional damage that that particular incident did to people. Some people still experience post-traumatic stress because of that particular issue. I remember reading an article in the papers where some residents were saying, at the sight of the clouds setting up in the sky, at the first sight of rain drizzling, that they get nervous and panicky because they just replay the incident of 2018 all over again and again. Who was held accountable for that? Who was held responsible for building that establishment, making millions, billions of dollars, whereas the
and and
residents, the people
and
who
that's what
simply just wanted somewhere to live. Yeah. Hmm.
and that goes back to what we were speaking with Amar about just now, because as far as I know, that Greenville area was agricultural land. That was colony lands, right?
That was a
And the
floodplain.
minister
They should have been growing rice there, not homes. Rice should have been growing on
and
those lands.
they were told, they were warned, listen, here is flood. They know exactly what they're doing. The land was there for the grabbing. The minister who was in charge of agriculture at that point in time was there to be the grabber, and opportunities arose, and we know how these people think, and one thing led to the other, and this is where we reach, right? um the things that go on in this country, the things I hear since getting into politics, is things I really didn't want to hear. I didn't want anything to do with politics. From one little experience I had, I just decided to stay out. But then when you sit down and really study, you have kids coming up, and if things continue going how it going now, what they're gonna have to face in the future. We have no choice but to get political. We have no choice, because it's only politics could put any kind of fix to what's going on in the country right now. So
Seven six nine
I
four
don't know.
five nine zero. Call in and talk your talk. Don't wait until the last 10 minutes where you don't have enough time to talk and I have to run you off the program. Call in now. Akil, when you look at the way we have set up, or this country is set up to fail and make the rich richer and the poor poorer, just take that one Greenvale incident. Somebody approved that land for building. Somebody built those homes and made contractors and friends of ministers extremely rich. Then somebody profited from the cleanup that took place after the floods in Greenville, because they had to pay somebody to come and clean up. And then somebody profited from the rebuilding that they had to do for whatever structures were damaged and whatever needed. I think they had to they widened the riverbed or something. They did. They did so-called mitigate or prevent this from happening again, which we all know would only be a temporary solution, because you are on a floodplain. It is expected to flood. The words are in the area. Flood plain, both synonymous with water and flooding. Come on.
Mm,
And then somebody benefited from the 350 something $million that was distributed in flood relief grants, where of that $350 million, at least 20% of that money went to unknown names. And I remember this particular lady who called me, she applied for a grant as well as her landlord applied for a grant, and she was the person who had to give back the grant when it was discovered that it happened 2 times, and when it was also discovered that he was not the landlord of the property. His name was not even on the deed, so he was renting a property to her, of which he was not an owner. Let's take a call this morning. Hello, good morning. You are live on Pep Talks in the morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
I was wondering
morning.
if the problem facing now is not a nurturing or a conditioning problem, where those who are not in authority are to supply the needs of those who are in authority. Because year in, year out, imagine we spend almost $1 trillion, and look at the condition of this place. And most of all, look at the condition of the educational system, whereas the majority of your thing, for example, you have 17 to 19,000 persons doing exams, and only 3,500 persons getting full certificate, 5 passes. So it means then that about 80% of your country does not have a full educational certificate. And if that is happening and nothing is being done year after year, it means then that somebody is benefiting off of the labor, because why I had to take a low-end job, I had to look for some kind of afraid to support myself. So when disaster comes, I'm not in a position really to maintain my family, to uphold my house. So you find now that in a small country with 1.5 million persons, you have a $6 billion care package to feed people when people supposed to be independent and growing and developing. Can you all help me out with understanding what we are in? Because I have children too and I'm concerned daily. And when you talk, they just tell you, if you don't like it, get somewhere else to live. Because we Trinidadians and it's such a nonsense talk that doesn't profit and doesn't help and doesn't cause development, mental development or emotional development. Thank you.
Thank you for that caller. And Michelle Davis, the deputy party organizer for the Progressive Empowerment Party. There's a term that she uses to describe everything that we're discussing right now: deliberate incompetence. That is what it feels like, and that's what it is in this country. And I was just explaining it there with that Greenfield incident. From the start, when we knew we were going to build that HGC establishment there, we had to have known that down the line there was going to be a flooding incident, which would have opened up the doorway for our friends and family and contractors to come in and correct the actions that we did that were incorrect in the first place. And then from there, well, of course, we have to distribute relief now. So that's another opportunity for us to siphon and pocket some money. Deliberate incompetence is what keeps this country running. That I was speaking this week about licensing office and some people who and me not wanting to have to pay the bribe. But the reality is that some license officers would fail you until you pay that bribe. Deliberate incompetence, because that means they now have the opportunity to squeeze an extra dollar out of you. You go to a public service um you go to access some public service, you try to renew your passport. It's taken 6 months to do it, but hey, if you pay me $2,000, you can get it in 2 weeks. Again, deliberate incompetence designed to facilitate corruption in this country, and it is so intrinsic, it is so interwoven with everything that we experience, from the simplest things. We had Mr. Amar on the show just now. From the simplest things as water, as land tenure, as loans to facilitate agriculture and the agricultural sector, to facilitate farmers, all of it, the things that should seem so easy but are so hard. Deliberate incompetence to facilitate more wrongdoing. 7694590. Call in and talk your talk. Akil, take the lead.
Yeah, and staying on the deliberate incompetence. I doing some work now in the Martin area, checking the rivers, monitoring where clean, where not clean, and trying to highlight it so hopefully somebody is watching and taking note that I am watching and and probably put some pep in their step and get the job done before the rains come. But I believe that what's happening with the rivers, we're seeing rivers clearing close to main thoroughfares, right? So you pass on a highway, you pass on a main road that is frequently driven, you will see a certain amount of work getting done in terms of rivers clearing. But you go in all the side streets, you go in the less traveled areas and look at the drains, and you're not seeing you hardly I don't want to lie. I'm seeing some work, but I'm not seeing enough being done, right? And one area in particular, in Diego Martin to the end, in the Bagatelle Green Hill area, between the North Post Road and Bagatelle, that settlement there, the drains are actually dirt drains, so the grass grows very quickly, and right now there's a lot of bush inside. It's like a forest, and the water is just weaving its way through the bushes. Now, if the rains come heavy, the water will pass, but at what speed? Because the grass and the bush is going to slow it down, right? And these areas tend to flood every year. Every year. They have some people, they're so accustomed, they know it's going to flood, they even stop complaining. They just prepare for the flooding. And that's wrong. That's totally wrong. Why you must have in your mind and tell yourself, okay, cool, I'm not even gonna call anybody because nothing gonna happen. So the place is gonna flood. So I'm just gonna prepare for the flood. We have houses to the end of the Shera Street off the Diego Martin Main Road, just down closer to the river. They actually block their doorways. They build a wall 4 or 5 feet in some cases around the entrance to the house, and then build a stairs to go up and over the wall down into the area where the door is opening to the house, right? So it's like you created an area so the water wouldn't come in. You could go over the wall and open your door and get in your house without the water going in your house. So they actually seal up their house 5 feet off the ground. They totally seal the entrance to the house, right? It's ridiculous, and it's not one house. It's a few houses like that all along the Diego Martin River. We have that. People are fed up every year. They get flooded. They lose furniture, appliances, etc. Right? They in a position now. They have to beg the government, "Hey, I need help. I need help." Right? And the government, okay, cool. I'm gonna help you here. Take this. Take this. And the government feel good and they post it up. Oh, we help X amount of households. We don't want that kind of help. We want the blasted things see about properly, clear the drains so we don't get it flooded. That is what the help we want. We don't want no handout. We don't want no flood package and mattress and whatever. Stop the flooding. Then we have Ranson and coming on recently within the last few months. He say, okay, flooding cannot be totally alleviated, right? And then a week after, you're coming on our next platform now and you say, give us 5 years again, we will eradicate flooding. What the again, Vex? Sorry, yeah. But oh gosh, man, they fooling us. We fed up all. They're trying to fool us. Stop this stupidness. Just do the work. And the nice thing about these areas where you have all these drains, there's a lot of people who want jobs in the area. Give them the jobs. Just put somebody to supervise and manage them. Say, okay, fella, it's cool. Or you could get a monthly job just to keep the rivers clear, right? I will pass around and make sure it's done, whatever, and they will get a salary, they have an income, they could better their own lives, right? Give the people in the area. They will do it, they will feel pride because it's in their area. If they don't do it, their area gonna flood. Don't bring somebody from a different area to do it because they wouldn't care, right? I had a discussion with some people in Bagatelle area about that, right? And they were like, "Were you talking there is gibberish?" Because they say, but how a political party could be saying that, right? I don't know. The amount of rivers, I have some pictures there. I had a post up, all in Diamond Vale and all those rivers. I will Diamond Vale area, the rivers concreted. So, but the bush is still growing up through cracks and whatever. Now, while this bush growing, it's damaging the river wall too. So the longer they allow it to grow, the roots gonna get bigger. It's gonna damage the concrete work. Regular maintenance. Why we don't have regular maintenance? Why the government can't get serious with maintenance on the whole building maintenance, public offices maintenance, grounds, road maintenance? If we do these things more regularly, the place wouldn't look so nasty. I mean, the place getting clean, yes, but it looks nasty so long before it's clean, and then you wait so long for it to get back heavy and plenty work where you had to get a backhoe to clear a drain when a man could have cleared with a shovel if you did it monthly. Is ridiculous. In one instance, right here on the North Post Road in Diego Martin, they have a railing running alongside the road blocking if a pedestrian wouldn't fall into the drain. They take so long to come and clean that drain that they had to come with a backhoe. And for the backhoe to work, they had to cut out the railing to dig out the stuff. So right now there's no railing there. Anybody could just fall in that drain if they happen to be walking on that side of the road. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
I feel we live in a country where our definition and our idea of flood preparation is sandbags and mattress. That is how we prepare for floods. Not clear the drains,
Sadly.
not build dams, not repair the gosh what is the name of that thing? I hate when words slip my mind like this, and it happens too often. Every time I get close to the weekend, the gates that we have at
Floodgates.
the floodgates, yes, at the mouths of the Caroni and the other main waterways that we have. Why? That is our. I mean, in any other place, any other country, those are the things that we will do. Deliberate incompetence, deliberate incompetence. You know why? Because there's money in buying sandbags. There's money in buying mattresses from wherever we buy mattresses from. Every year, some manufacturer every year has a truckload of mattresses, not a truckload, has a warehouse full of mattresses waiting for floods to actually take place. And I ask myself every year, where does that money go? You're here, Akil, or you're frozen? Is it me or is it you? Okay, it looks like you are frozen, so it's you, because I am moving. Yes, I'm moving. All right, so back to that entire discussion that we're having right now on the deliberate incompetence, the mismanagement, particularly as it pertains to managing flooding and managing our approach to flooding. I think I'm back. I myself was frozen for half a second. We lost Akil and he should be back in a little bit. So we're talking about the HGC problems with HGC and what occurred yesterday as it pertains to the distribution of homes and that lottery system. Again, I can't imagine that it would work like that in any other country. I can't imagine that the distribution of homes would be by a lock system, by a lottery system as it goes right now. I mean, the fact that we have so many people waiting for HGC homes, so many people on the list. Yes, somebody just messaged me that they know someone who's been on the list for at least 15, 20 years. I just got another comment. Listening to you, I met a lady living in Greenville and she's blaming Kamala for building the complex in a flood-prone area. They will never change, and they're referring to Greenville. As far as I am aware, the project started under Rowley as a planning minister without terms and conditions permission. And that's correct. It was a project that spanned two administrations. First, it was approved under the PNM and built under the UNC. And we're back in a pointing fingers scenario where who do you blame, who is accountable? They would both stand up in Parliament and point fingers across at the other side, while the residents who actually experienced and were impacted by this suffer. Akil Kams, good morning. You lost internet connection.
Yes. I call it. I apologize. Current went and apparently my data not working fast enough, so I'm not able to log back on. All right. Yeah. So this whole drainage issue, I believe they're not taking it serious enough, and as usual, they're gonna wait for people's houses to be damaged. Then they're gonna call for immediate relief from those big companies with the backhoes, with the excavators, everything, to do some urgent work to get the rivers clear, which gonna cost double or triple what it would have cost if they did it on a timely maintenance schedule, as we know. But all this is games to put money in people's hands, and it's just really sad. It's just really sad how they operate. But yes, that's how it is.
Indeed. I'm also reading another comment here. Pepper sauce. Invite farmers to produce the brand. Sir, we have had this idea of doing pepper sauce since 2017. Any idea that somebody puts forward to us, though, we say you need to follow through on it because many of us in the PP wear several hats. I am the chairman of the party. I'm also the head of finance. I'm also event coordinator when I need to be. So if you are suggesting pepper sauce, I will be happy to discuss with you. You can take the idea and share it, or find somebody to actually action that particular initiative that you would like to have or would like to see brought into fruition. Aki, we have just about 8 minutes left on the
Yeah, so
program.
I gonna close off here. What I'm gonna say with respect to that pepper and anything positive in terms of things to better the country, I really doubt that this government has the balls to do that in a serious way. So I would tell Trinidad and Tobago, put the Progressive Empowerment Party in office. We are the ones who will put our best foot forward to get these things implemented, to get things done in a serious way in Trinidad and Tobago. I don't think these other two parties have they can do it. They can do it. They proved to us that they can do it. So let's not waste our vote putting it by either of those main parties. The PEP is the only option at this time. Thank you, Trinidad and Tobago, for allowing me time to speak to you all. Felicia, thank you for having me on with you today.
Thank you for being here, Akil. And I mean, if there was any other indication that this particular administration is just incompetent and a waste of a time, I'm reading this particular article here. Clyde Weatherhead sent me this note that he would have written on citizens being asked to pay for quarantine. What kind of madness is this? We spending what, 9 billion, 6 billion, we are outlined $6 billion to spend on COVID-19. Less than 1 billion has been spent so far. We have had 116 as of last week. A week ago today, 117 cases of COVID-19 cost this country $934 million, and we telling people that they have to pay for quarantine. What kind of absolute madness is that? We built an entire parallel healthcare system, one that Terence Yalsing was proud and happy to boast about 4 weeks ago. Now he's telling people that they have to pay.
I don't expect anything good from this government. In fact, I don't even cringe again when I hear certain things because I know it's coming. So I give up. I don't think that they could do anything better, and I just waiting for PP to get in government.
I want to read this particular post by Clyde Weatherhead because it's on the button. No to citizens paying for quarantine. Health and healthcare are a right. This is a public health emergency. If we are made to pay for this emergency service, will we have to pay for other public health services next year? Will we have to pay for shelter in a natural disaster such as an emergency, earthquake, hurricane because it's expensive? The health minister said imposing fees for this critical public health emergency measure will be decided by himself, the national security minister, and the prime minister. Is this a new cabal within the cabal? I'm noticing that those three seem to be a very tight-knit crew as of right now. Are the PM or subcommittee, not cabinet or parliament, to decide the imposition of fees for emergency public protection services? He just reiterated in a nicer way what I just said. Are you, this handful, these three people, responsible for deciding national matters like these where citizens have to pay for healthcare service? Cut out.
And with the team, with the 22-man team, the two committee.
Where are they?
Yeah, I ain't hearing nothing.
Cut out corruption, theft, and waste of public money to ensure that public money is available to meet the cost of essential emergency public health measures to protect the lives of all TNT citizens. Taxpayers pay taxes as public money to fund the cost of guaranteeing the right of citizens. Well said, Mr. Clyde Weatherhead. Well said. Absolutely tip my hat off to you for that. I can't believe that we have a group of 3 people: the National Security Minister, Liar-in-Chief Stuart Young, Prime Minister Keith Rowley, the Liar-in-Chief backup, and Terence Dialsing, a man who still, as Health Minister, doesn't even know how to wear a mask. Can't believe those are the people those 3 people are in charge right now of making decisions on behalf of 1.4 million people, decisions that since the start of this pandemic, since the start of them taking control or reins of this country, have only put the citizens in a position of desperation, need, and listen, citizens, it's on you, you know, it's on you right now. All of this is on you. Come general elections, whatever decision that you make, because this is, somebody asked me what is my plans if the PEP is not successful in this next general elections, and whether I would continue in politics or not. I said, you know what, it absolutely depends on Trinidad and Tobago. When I see the results of that election, depending on where, after the past 10 years, depending on what citizens are thinking, it would impact what I do from there. Because I mean, I'm a part of an organization of citizens who are fighting for a better Trinidad and Tobago, but it can't be me and 50,000 people rowing in one direction, and the next 1,300,000 and God, I'm doing math. It can't be that 1.3 million people rowing in the other direction. So Trinidad and Tobago, it all depends on you. We're approaching the end of our program here today. Satish, we have those pictures from the PEP merchandise Father's Day promotion that I do want to put up there. Please, if you would like to get any PEP merchandise, this is some of the offers that we have going on for Father's Day. It's just $100 a t-shirt. There's a t-shirt and mask combination that you can purchase if you would like to. Please reach out to Sasha for that. It's 759-3138 if you would like to get any one of these t-shirts. They're going really quickly, like I said, so that number again, 759-3138. Trinidad and Tobago, thank you for joining me on the program this morning. I really enjoyed this entire discussion, from agriculture to everything that we discussed in terms of current events. I usually like to leave you with a thought of the day. Today's thought of the day is motivational. Practice kindness all day to everybody, and you would realize you're already in heaven now. I like that. Let's show an act of kindness today and experience a little bit of heaven on earth. We will be back tomorrow with Hadassah, who will be co-hosting the program with me. For now, stay safe, and remember, during this period of social distancing, let's stay together by staying apart. I'll see you tomorrow.